Welcome back. Welcome back to the Lesbian Line. It's Whitney again for another episode, and I have a special guest today. Here's a hint. It is not Kasima, although they will be back for other episodes coming up. Hey, Kasima, if you're listening. All right, so our surprise guest is my fiance.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Okay, so they are very excited. Would you say excited? How do you feel, babe?
I would say I'm excited and a little trepidatious. This is my first time doing something like this, and I'm not used to recording my voice.
It's going to be fun. I would hope so. Yes. All right. So our theme for today's show is going to be moving. So moving in, moving out, things like that. We have 3 stories for you today. And I've honestly, I've forgotten them. So it's going to feel new to me.
Surprise for all of us.
It is going to be a surprise, yeah. All right, but before we get into the stories of today, just a quick disclaimer. Hey, everyone, just a quick heads up before we dive in. I am not a medical professional or therapist. This is all just commentary, conversation, and community. This whole project is inspired by my doctoral research, which is all about exploring how queer people learn, share, and reflect on relationships online. We'll be diving into queer stories found on social media, like Reddit, Instagram, or stories that you send in. Everything we talk about will be linked below so you can read the original stories for yourself. Thanks for being here. Now, let's get on the lesbian line. All right, let's go to our first story.
What do we got?
Too early to move in?
The answer is probably yes, if that's the question, but okay.
Yeah, but we're going to read it anyway.
We've all been there.
Because we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, me, 21, and my girlfriend, 26, have been together for 2 years now. We are 5 years apart in age, so obviously we are at different stages in life, so we never really rushed anything between us. She works and she lives alone. I'm in college and live in a dorm. Okay. We are only a 10-minute drive apart, so we are together every day. We go on dates or just hang out at her place. I would stay the night at her place, but maybe once a week, not too much. But 2 months ago, I got a new roommate and she's terrible. I just can't focus on studying when she's there, and education is the most important thing to me. I study law and I'm attached to the book a lot. That's the main reason why I don't live with my girlfriend. I sometimes study 12 hours a day. That's a lot, friend.
Good job, yo.
And I always thought living with my girlfriend would be distracting. She's too hot for me to keep my hands to myself. Relatable. But ever since I got a new roommate, I can't focus on anything. So for the past 2 weeks, I've been at my girlfriend's place. She works 8 to 4, so I have mornings to myself to study, and then I have to go to college from 12 to 4. After work, she goes to the gym, and then I have 2 more hours alone to study. And from 7, we are together until we go to sleep, and it really works for me. Last night, when we were getting ready for bed, she asked me to officially move in with her. She said she'll help me move my stuff. I was really happy she asked me and that she wants to do this, but when I told my friends, they said it's too early and they fear it won't work out for us as we are so used to living apart. Okay, so just to remember, they've been together for 2 years now.
2 years, but 2 years and then one of them's 26?
Yeah, so one is 20 and one is 26.
20 or 21?
Me, 21, and my girlfriend, 26.
So they got together when she was a teenager?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
She was 19.
Okay.
Yeah. Y'all know how I feel about age gaps, particularly when one of the ages ends in teen.
I mean, that's something that to me is an immediate red flag because there's a clear power imbalance with their ages. I mean, she's noted, and I'm glad that she's aware that they're in different stages in their life. And, you know, I'm not every 21-year-old. And also it's hard to know what you don't know. And 2 years is a long time. And also 2 years is a long time for a 21-year-old. But then when you're 26, you've established some sort of sense of
self
life and self. Yeah. And so to have somebody move in and you to be the one on the lease, and that puts a lot of control in your hands. So that would concern me as a friend of the original poster. What's the OP?
Original poster, yeah. How do I feel about this? I think she is a bit young. I think OP is a bit young. 21 is young. You don't really know yourself. You don't really know what moving in symbolizes and how it changes your life so significantly. 21 is a bit young. But on the other hand, they have been together for 2 years, so they have a good track record. So that's something we should take into account as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a good track record. And I feel like for me, that highlights the age gap. Also, I mean, as somebody who's an educator and works in education, when I hear the teen on the end of it, it's like they're babies still.
Mm-hmm.
And that is concerning, mostly because of the power imbalance. Yeah, but because when you're 24 or 26, you know, you're out doing things. You have that removal from college. You have a sense of living alone, it seems. In this, you know, original poster is a kid still. I mean, I know some people might argue that, but to me, that's...
The only people that argue that 21 is not still a baby are people that are 21 and under. Yeah.
Or people who are giant walking red flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only babies say they're not babies.
Yeah. So I don't know, that just every level of that kind of concerns me because we don't really know much more about the relationship. And so they could be very well intentioned and meaning to help, and also that doesn't negate that there will be a power imbalance. And she's studying law, so is she going through law school would be my other question too. So that's a commitment of time and money. It just doesn't feel... It also is short-sighted too, because you know when you get a bad roommate, there's so many other ways to handle it other than like this.
Yeah, and I think too, and I do think it's a 21-year-old logic, whether you're studying law or not. You're saying it as if your girlfriend's house is the only other place that you can study, as if a library doesn't exist, as if coffee shops don't exist, as if like your campus has a library. I'm sure the law department has a quiet place for law students to study. So your girlfriend's house is not the only available place. It's like, if you want to move in with your girlfriend, then just say that, but don't blame it on studying, because there are plenty of places that you can sign up for a quiet space and you can go in there and close the door and stay for hours.
Yeah, and also it seems like she's in campus housing. So there's an RA or there's somebody who's, you know, mediator when you have a bad roommate. Yep. So there's other ways to kind of go about doing this that I would much more suggest before moving in with a partner at that young age. Because I don't know what their financial situation is either, and whether or not they have a backup. And once you leave campus housing, things, depending on where you are, can be difficult to get back in.
Yeah. And you could even go to the housing department. Hey, me and my roommate aren't getting along. Can I have a new room? Can I have a new building? Next year, can I apply early to have my own room? There are options here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's see what the comments have to say. They don't have too many comments, so we can just read them both. The first person said, lesbians will move in together after 2 weeks. That's true. That's true, because I definitely moved to a whole different state after meeting someone like a month later.
Different. I'm not at that level, and I guess I never will be.
Yeah. Hi to the Baltimore people, if y'all are listening. Go purple team. You know the one. 2 years is a perfectly normal amount of time to want to move in together. The most important is you feel ready to take that step with your partner. I think 2 years is, under normal circumstances, I think 2 years is a decent amount of time to move in with each other.
I agree. No, I think there are a lot of elements of it that are practical, and also I would caution the power imbalance, really. And maybe it's because I have housing trauma and things like that. But also I think that I would caution her just really because of that. I think that she's thought through a lot of things. I think she has a lot of things under control. And she's seems to have a good head on her shoulders. And also, you know, I think there is a power imbalance.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next comment says, I made my own rule for this. Date for 2 years, live together for 2 years, then get married. Though people can change from 21 to 25 when their brain fully develops, I know I'm definitely not the same person I was, so don't be surprised if that happens.
Yep, and that's a huge part too. I mean, even developmentally. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know me at 21, I was still living in the dorms. I was still living in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. By then, I had 3 nieces and nephews, and they were my whole world. Like, I barely did anything without those kids. We were at the circus. We were like in like corn mazes. We were everywhere. But I mean, my life was like wrapped around them.
Yeah, you had wee ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that, you know, a lot of time has passed, the oldest one is turning 17. I'm a completely different person than I was at 21.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mainly because I don't have to pay for formula and diapers anymore. I'm so glad. I'm so glad they got over that.
I would be concerned if they didn't.
All right, so we're going to go to the next story. Breakup living situation. I don't know where this is going to go, but we'll see.
What if the repeat of the last one?
Right.
She's like, moved in, didn't go well.
Right, could you imagine? All right, hi everyone. I could really use some advice. Okay, we're here for you, friend. I am thinking about breaking up with my partner of 4 years. That's a good long time. That's a good chunk. I still love her, but things have gotten so toxic and neither of us are happy anymore. There's been a lot of conflict between us lately. And to make things worse, she also had a big falling out with my best friend, who is also our landlord.
Okay.
You can't. Mixing friendships and money, like that's a whole other episode. But mixing friendships, the last time I mixed money with a friend, we are no longer friends. And I still know how much money they owe me. It's $300. But anyway, I mean, not that we're keeping count or anything. We're definitely not.
Not at all.
Anyway, here's where it gets complicated. My best friend wants my partner out. When we break up, I think my best friend will only give my partner a matter of weeks to move out. Where if it were up to me, I'd give her months. I know she can't afford to move out right now and is in a bad spot financially, and she doesn't have any family and has very few friends she can rely on. I'm feeling really stressed out about this aspect of a breakup, and I feel responsible as I'm the one who suggested we move to my friend's property. I can try to convince my friend to give her longer, but if I can't convince her, I don't know what to do. She can't afford a place on her own. She'd have to stay with a friend, coworker, or get a second job just to rent a room from someone. It feels like I'm going to ruin her life. It also feels crappy to break up with someone right before the holidays who has no family. We also have a dog together, but I think I will have to keep him because of the living situation. Does anyone have any advice for navigating all of this?
That's rough. That sounds really...
That's rough. We don't know the ages for these people, but that sucks. That ain't no other word for it. That sucks. I would talk to the friend. I would talk to the landlord. Ask them, hey, is it possible that I could pay you in advance so that she could get enough time to save up for 2 months or 3 months so that she can save so that she can move on. And then after that, I'll take my hand out. I would see if there's any flexibility, see if there's anywhere where she could go. I mean, sometimes living situations can be uncomfortable, but if it's toxic, you can't burn yourself trying to keep other people warm. Like, if you're ready to go, then you just have to do what you have to do to find your way out. What do you think, babe?
I mean, I think similarly to what you said. I'm assuming they're in the U.S., but they might not be, because there's also, I would automatically talk to my friend who's the landlord. If they're actually my friend, that would be a conversation I'd be having with them. Depending on how my friend reacted, there's tenant rights, so they can't just kick her out. That's not really how it works if she has a lease. And also that's something that after having the conversation with my friend who's the landlord, I would have with my, I guess, ex-partner at that point.
Soon to be ex.
Yeah, and talk to them, because then it's like, look, my friend wants to kick you out. And also if they kick you out, they have to give you notice, or they have to give you back the security deposit now. I can help you finding a new place. You can use the security deposit to put a first and last months wherever they live. I mean, New York City is New York City, and not every place is like that. But use that money as a seed to help set them up if that's something that's important. But it sounds like, if it's toxic enough to be like this, then it needs to happen, and it's going to just be uncomfortable, and that's kind of, the name of the game. But you also don't want to, screw anybody over, and the element of like the holidays and everything like that is difficult too. But it also seems like, because of the way they're focusing on how toxic it is, it doesn't seem like a friendship's going to be able to be maintained.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think she's ready to go at this point. Okay, so we're going to read one set of comments because the first comment is kind of long, and then OP actually responded. Okay, so bridge number 5802 says, this is a truly tough situation. I suggest that you're 100% sure you want to break up first. Imagine your future and your daily life without your partner being in it. The concept of toxic is very vague, so be sure that whatever issues you're having can't be solved with communication/therapy. If you've already thought of these, I'd recommend that you have a conversation with your landlord/friend and request that they give your partner extra time. They're human after all, and I'm sure they'll understand. Your partner will really struggle after this. But if you're sure it's for the better then it must be done. I also suggest doing everything in your power not to end up living with them while broken up. Been in that situation before, and it lasted 1.5 days.
Oh, no. But it wasn't that the situation wasn't it wasn't fraught in the same way, it seems like.
Yeah, living with your ex can be really, it can go south really, really quickly. Mm-hmm. Remember, only control what you can. Yes, breaking up with someone is cruel, but sometimes it's needed. I've always been the dumpy and never the dumper, so trust me on this one. You can ask for extra time with the landlord, but that's it. I doubt that anything else regarding your partner's future living situation is within your control. After the breakup, it's done. For your future ex's well-being, go no contact. The urge to stay friends, especially after a relationship that lasted so long, can be really strong, but you have to find the strength to fight it. We're all here for you, sending lots of love. I think that was sound advice.
I don't know. I think there were elements that were sound advice. And also, I think some of it was a little bit of a projection, because it's like, if you're not a part of the situation, it's hard to be prescriptive with advice, I'm always wary of prescriptive anything. But I also think that on the flip side of the coin, I think this could be also the best thing possible for the person who's getting dumped. I think it could also be the thing that they need to, move on from the situation, even though it's difficult. The no contact thing, who knows? Like that, that feels extreme, and I don't know the situation well enough to be able to give that advice. But
yeah. But OP does, and they responded. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is what needs to happen, just not what I want, because I still love her. These are substance abuse issues, and there have been many conversations about our issues with little to no action or accountability on her part. Multiple friends and family have said they think that leaving would be best for me. But I do love her and care about her, and I don't wish these struggles on her that are inevitable if we break up. But I've also tried to help her with her financial situation by making budgets and plans, and she won't talk about it or even give me all the information I need to make a plan for her. Yeah, you can't. It is, but you can't help people that don't want to be helped.
You can't. It seems like her soon-to-be ex is just carrying a lot of shame, and that's not something she can fix. That's serious therapy.
Yeah, by herself.
Yeah, by herself. That's not. It's her own journey.
I empathize so deeply with what she has been through and why she is the way she is, but I can't make her help herself. I don't want to make it worse either, but at some point she has to start taking accountability for her actions and choices. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would be good for us to stay living together long term if we break up either, and I don't think my friend will allow that anyway. I just feel so guilty and worried because I know she doesn't have many other options, and I don't want this to ruin her or make her life worse. I will ask my friend to give her more time, but if she says no, there's not a lot I can do about that. The whole situation really sucks. I appreciate the advice and comforting words.
She's going through the grieving process. That's really, she knows what she's doing. She has thought it through. She's, seeked counsel on it. She just is going through the grieving process of the relationship.
Yeah, but it's like you can't beat yourself up because she doesn't want to help herself. If you were trying to help her with her finances and budgets and all this, you were putting in so much effort. Like, it's only but so much you could do. So I think you can move forward from the situation knowing that you gave it your all, and anything that happens to her is going to be because of her going forward.
Yeah, and being that person is somebody who's in crisis and somebody who's an addict is actually counterproductive. It's not. It just...
Because it's enabling.
It's enabling behavior, exactly. And also it tears you down. It creates a web of that enabling behavior. That's really difficult. I feel badly for her, for both of them.
Yeah, I really hope that they find peace going forward, and I hope that they were able to leave that situation. All right, so we have one more story, short and sweet. Do lesbian relationships move faster than other kinds? I think we all know the answer to that. We live here. We've been in town for a while. We know the answer, but we're going to read it just for the plot. All right. I'm living with my best friend who's a lesbian and recently moved to my city. We've lived together for a year, throughout which time she's been using dating apps, and a few months ago, like 4 or 5, she matched with someone, and that one seems to have stuck. Okay. Now, though, she's asking me if her partner can move in. She says that lesbian relationships move quick, which is giving me really bad vibes. Truthfully, I know for a fact she's never been in a serious relationship before now. Not that that necessarily invalidates what she's saying, but I still can't say I'm fully comfortable with it, and I've told her as much, just being frank. She still insists on it. happening and it looks like I'll just accommodate, but is there any truth to her statement? Also, for further context, we're both nearly 30 and the vibe I'm getting is less lesbian relationships move quick and more, I feel like I'm falling behind in my life goals and I just want to rush them. I've met her partner and she's definitely not the kind of person I just have assumed my friend would have dated.
So the OP is straight?
I
we can assume kind of.
Yeah, we can
assume
assume that she's straight. It's kind of giving spaghetti straight though.
Yeah. Either way, I don't know. I'm always dubious on straight people's opinions about queer relationships to some extent.
Yeah.
Because there's a different social emotional dynamic at play, and there's also, depending on the biases, I mean that happens in the queer community too, but depending on the biases, straight people have more of them. There's a tendency for them to.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of on the side of OP though. Like, okay, so the lesbian roommate, okay, they came with the audacity. You're living with someone else. Yeah, you're living with someone else. So a kindness has already been given to you, and now you want to move your partner in? If you want to live with your partner, you have to go live with your partner outside of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a piece of it too. I mean, I don't want to be a hypocrite because I've been the one moving in with a partner who had a roommate, and also I had an apartment fire. So there was that part. Like I couldn't live in my apartment, and they wouldn't give us our security deposit back, which was real wild. But I do think that's part of it too. I think the only part that rubbed me the wrong way was not the person I envisioned them with, because that could mean so many things. So it's
it almost seems like who do you envision her with? You?
That, or also it's like, do you have a very heteronormative binary concept of what a relationship and partner looks like, or I don't know. And also, I think that they should be finding another another apartment with their partner if that were to be the case. And also, I definitely believe the pressure could be fueling that. I don't think moving them. I think that I think she needs to slow her roll a little bit.
Yeah, because 4 to 5 months isn't. Mm-mm. You don't know that person.
No.
Like they're still their representative. You don't know someone after 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. I think at their age, like they're both nearly 30, like you're supposed to know better than that. I think.
I can see that if it's her first real lesbian relationship, there could be a level of stunting because of, closetedness or whatever variety, depending on where she lives, if there's not a pool of people to date. I could see those all, there's delayed, what's the word for it? The arrested development kind of for queer relationships sometimes. So that could be a factor. And all those things can be true and it can still be a bad idea.
Yeah. If this were me, if I were in the situation, no, your little girlfriend can't move in. No, I'm so sorry. But if you want to go move with her, I'll help you pack your boxes. I'll carry your boxes downstairs. Because I don't know this person. This person could bring anything into this house, and I'm not willing to risk that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So a few of the comments. It's a common stereotype. I don't think lesbians are actually more likely to move quicker than other people. No, lesbian relationships don't have to move any faster than straight relationships.
That's the part too, is the title of this also feels very loaded and straight and, problematic,
Yeah, because this is not a lesbian versus heterosexual issue. This is
straight people
audacity.
Be marrying after 3 months. Promise rings is weird, out here. But I don't think that's. I think that there are two separate problems, and I think that part of the problem is OP is seemingly homophobic.
A little bit. Because to say that person's not the kind of person, why does it matter to you? If you don't want any person moving in, it doesn't matter what they look like, how they present, how they identify. If you just don't want another roommate, you just don't want another roommate.
Not the sirens in the background. It's like SOS.
Even the city agrees that's a mess. Well, all right, y'all. That was our last story of this episode. And now we are going to go into our Queer Minute, where we tell you about different queer things in the community, different movies, books, things like that, so you can keep it queer in your own life. Okay, so our first is going to be our queer book suggestion, which is...
So I asked Whitney to let me talk about this book I just finished actually listening to, and I highly recommend the audiobook as well, but it's called The Dawnhounds by Sascha Stronach. I think I pronounced that correctly. If you're into science fiction, fantasy, queer relationships, and dynamics, it's a book that integrates in Southeast Asian and Pacific Islander, specifically also Maori culture, and mythology layered in to this network of cities and places that exists in a world connected through mitochondria and growth of things like mycelium. It focuses on a detective who is forced to grapple with the old world of steel and gunpowder and this new world of growth and nature and its connection to the gods. And the people who are in the novel who are queer are imbued with the ability to see things the way other characters cannot. It's one in a series, and I highly recommend it. Again, it's called The Dawnhounds by Sascha Stronach.
Thanks, babe. I hope you guys that if you read that book, I hope you enjoy it. All right, the movie.
I loved it. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5? Nice. The movie that we're suggesting is I Am Not Okay With This. It's on Netflix. It came out in 2020. It's a coming-of-age series about a teenage girl, Sydney, who is dealing with the loss of her father, her developing superpowers, and the complexities of being a teenager. Sydney's relationship with her best friend, Dina, as a queer element to the show, highlighting the tension between friendship, love, and identity. All right. Those are our queer suggestions for you guys to check out if you are looking for new things to put in your rotation. So if you liked what you heard today, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. It helps more folks find us and keeps this space growing. Thanks for being here. And if you have questions yourself, you can upload them to our new Reddit page. I will link it below. So if you have any questions, maybe your question will end up on the show's next episode.
Thank you for having me here, baby. I'm so proud of you for making this.
Thanks so much, babe. I do what I can. Well, all right, y'all. We will see you next time. Bye.